Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we have some great news. The Hunter and the Beast has been announced. That was unexpected. I was thinking it'd be Grom the Paunch and Ultharian, but you know, that's just me, I suppose. But yeah, Hunter and the Beast, so we're getting some more Empire units, which bodes very well for the future, I think, because it means they're not shy about doing Game 1 and 2 crossover content. I know New World colonies exist, but still, that's just some minor faction, right? But this is going to flesh out the Empire in general, so that's awesome. But also, surprising to see more Lizardmen so soon. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into what it is. So, there is a trailer up. There is a link in the description. I'm not just going to play the trailer here. I'm sure you guys have seen it. So watch that trailer first, get excited, and then come here for the details. Good plan. Brilliant. I'll see you now, because you've done it already. Hooray! So, Total War, Warhammer 2, The Hunter and the Beast. FAQ. Brilliant. Thanks, Ella McConnell. Right, so here we have the Hunter of the Beast is the latest Lords pack for Total War Warhammer 2, introducing 2 rival legendary lords from the world of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, each with their own objectives, mechanics, units, and playstyles for use in both the Eye of the Vortex and Mortal Empires campaigns, and custom/multiplayer battles. The Hunter and the Beast includes 2 richly themed new legendary lords, Markus Wulfhart, hell yeah, leads the Hunts Marshal's expedition, because he, of course, is the Hunts Marshal. So, obviously, that's the Empire in Warhammer 2, hell yeah. And Nakai the Wanderer opposes him as the leader of the Spirit of the Jungle, which is obviously a Lisbon faction. And, yeah, he's going to wander, as we'll get into. So, 2 new Lord types. Now, this is cool. We'll have Hunter Generals, which, yeah, essentially sort of archer generals for the Empire. It'll be like having, I don't know, like a Waystalker as a general or something, or a Lithanar for, you know, for the Empire, which is so cool. A generic type, and of course Markus Wulfhart will be quite similar. And Ancient Croxigors, so finally we can have a Croxigor Lord, which is very cool. Having something stocky anti-infantry, I think is really cool. Without having to, I suppose, just get a big Stegodon or something. But yeah, I really like that. Ancient Croxigors, very fun. 4 new unique hero units for the Empire. See Wulfhart's Hunters. These are really fun, and I can't wait to have a look at them because they look really cool. So, new faction, new unique faction mechanics, quest chains, legendary items, skill trees, and campaign narrative. For the Vortex campaign only, because of course, most of that stuff doesn't really apply to Mortal Empires. Mortal Empire is more of the sandbox, isn't it? And, you know, Vortex is more story-focused. So, fine. New units for the Empire, including Archers, Huntsmen, and War Wagons. War Wagons, guys! I never thought we'd see War Wagons unless they fleshed out Kislev, which is still possible, but now they got War Wagons, so, you know, that's awesome. War Wagons are such an old-school unit. They're in, like, I don't know, maybe 4th edition Warhammer? I'm not sure they even made it to, like, 5th. They are super old. These units, they haven't sold models of them for years, so it's really interesting to see them in, and yeah, it just adds so much more flavour, I think. So I love that. So, new regiments for the Lizardmen, Dread Saurians, scary, Sacred Croxigors, and Razordon hunting packs. That's all terrifying. That's all terrifying. New regiments of renown for both the Empire and the Lizardmen, so more regiments of renown to choose from each, which is a lot of fun. So, for full details, head over to Steam. Well, we can do that, actually. In fact, I think the rest of this is on the Steam page, except for right at the bottom, which we'll get to in a second. So, over to the Steam store. So, obviously, trailer here as well. There's a link in the description to this too. So, 10% off if you pre-order. So, you know, the usual thing. So, we've got a picture of Nakai here. We have Markus Wulfhart with his, I'm assuming, with the Huntsman. In green there. Oh, and I think fighting a Razordon as well, perhaps. Yeah, that would make sense. So, interesting. And here, these are the heroes, which we'll get into. And a beautiful just scene of just terror and archers. Ooh, fun. If only these guys had some armor piercing. Hopefully the War Wagons have that covered. Anyway, let's get to it. So, background. Fearless, charismatic, daring. These are but a few of the epithets bestowed upon Markus Wulfhart, the Huntsman, the Hunts Marshal of Emperor Karl Franz, with his band of ruthless trackers, scouts, hunters, and sharpshooters, who better to dispatch the steaming jungles of Lustria, in order to plant the flag and further imperial interests, and if some big games should wander into the crosshairs, but the jungle does not sleep. Nakai the Wanderer revered Croxigore of the first spawning, is a living legend among the lizardmen, wandering the jungles of Lustria since the destruction of his home city of Talaxtala. Talaxtala? Something like that. During the Great Catastrophe, he follows where the Great Plan wheels him. Now Lustria is at threat from usurpers once more. Nakai will rally the sacred Croxigores and rouse the Dread Saurians from their ageless slumber. The old ones demand it. Hell yeah, so Markus Wulfhart, his whole thing with the Hunts Marshal's expedition. Unique faction mechanics. So, Emperor's Mandate. As Markus Wulfhart expands Imperial interest in Lustria, his stature in the eyes of the Emperor grows. As a result, he receives a broadening range of increasingly advanced Empire units to aid in his expedition. As new territory is captured, his building options also diversify. In the Eye of the Vortex campaign, Markus will ultimately face the Spirit of the Jungle himself, Nakai the Wanderer, to decide who holds dominion over the jungles of Lustria. So, I love this whole dueling mechanic, sort of, you know, invader versus stout defender. It's kind of awesome. So, Wulfhart's campaign progress is measured by how effectively he fulfills the Emperor's Mandate. Expansion, successful military operations, and other campaign activities increase his acclaim, which is tracked on the Emperor's Mandate bar. The Emperor's Mandate also dictates the quality of units available to Wulfhart via the Imperial Supplies system, which dispatches better units for him to recruit from time to time. So, I'm not sure if this will be like sort of kind of like a Regiment of Renown system, where you've just got that menu and you can just recruit, you know, sort of from a separate pool of units, sort of better things. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. As the Mandate bar fills, he will also unlock bonuses to further improve these units, plus new recruitment buildings. So, yeah, that just lets you get them from home, which is nice. So, in the Eye of the Vortex campaign, filling the Emperor's Mandate bar will cause Nakai the Wanderer to issue a final do-or-die challenge to Markus Wulfhart, a call to battle that will become the stuff of legend. Hostility. The lands beyond the Empire are inimical to man, and Wulfhart's actions will not go unnoticed. While defeating the local inhabitants improves Wulfhart's imperial standing and increases his supply of fresh troops, it also enrages Lustria's native denizens. Wulfhart's hostility rating reflects the current level of Lustria's retaliation against his military activities. Aggressive activities such as military actions and raiding can raise hostility through 5 levels. Conversely, a more passive approach to the campaign will cause hostility to fall. Each hostility level has a negative effect on Wulfhart's campaign, but is also a measure of his aggression against the lizardmen. As he ascends through the hostility levels, reinforcements are dispatched more frequently via the Imperial supply system. The strength of these reinforcements is still dictated by the Emperor's Mandate bar. So, interesting. So, you get reinforcements if you have more to fight, but if you're not actually making progress, you're not going to get better stuff, because you need to get the Emperor's Mandate bar up. So you need to appease him, and also, you know, be a threat, I guess, to get the most support, which makes sense, because, you know, they'll send more guys to help you out if there's, you know, anything's putting your mission in jeopardy. But if it's going really well, then yeah, they're going to dedicate more funds to it, right? So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool how that'll balance out, I think. So, when peak hostility is reached, a Lizardman task force is dispatched with the aim of defeating Wulfhart. He will instantly receive an Imperial supplies drop, and will need to survive sustained assault for a number of turns before the hostility bar resets. So that's kind of cool. So it sort of triggers a sort of Vortex, classic Vortex campaign style, sort of invasion of you every now and then, which is interesting. I like that. So, Wulfhart's hunters scattered through Lustria are 4 of the finest hunters that ever lived. Wulfhart may attempt to track them down and acquire their services to aid in the expedition's success, and subsequently developing each hunter's unique abilities and learning the tales of their past deeds. Wulfhart can search for the 4 hunters in the jungles of Lustria by completing special missions. The hunters each have bespoke stories and are uncovered through unique missions. Completing these missions will reward them with new traits and powerful abilities. Really cool, some RPG aspects here. This reminds me of some Heroes of Might and Magic going on. It's awesome. So, the hunters are not required to complete Wulfhart's narrative Vortex campaign, but bring major benefits to the Hunts Marshal's expedition. Jorik Grimm is a brilliant master engineer. Shunned for his eccentric ideas, he is struck out alone to seek his fortune in Lustria. So, in dwarf culture, like, eccentric ideas are not good. It's weird. If you're an inventor, you're really just making the same stuff that everyone's already invented. Some clans see handguns as, well, you know, the Thunderers, right? So they see them as ridiculous and against tradition. So it's odd. Master Engineers, brilliant at building things, but not really allowed to build much outside of what's already been invented because tradition demands it. So yeah. So someone running around a forest, hunting big game, he's probably quite an eccentric character, and I doubt they're too keen on him back home. So Roderick Longwy was once a renowned paladin. Disgraced and exiled, however, he is haunted by a past he cannot escape. Ooh, haunted. Do you reckon he's actually haunted? He might be haunted. It is a fantasy game. So, that's awesome. So, okay, so a dwarf, a Bretonnian, Hertwig van Hal, a skilled physician and a witch hunter, has travelled far from home on his quest for ultimate vengeance. Who's he trying to venge? What's going on here? Can't wait. But hey, witch hunter, right? And skilled physician, which makes me wonder if, I don't know, replenishment bonuses? Will he have a healing thing instead of accusation? Will he be able to heal a unit? That could be interesting. Kalara of Wydrioth, the eminent Waystalker, hell yeah, has traded the forests of Avalon for the jungles of Lustria in pursuit of redemption. So interesting that she's actually from, she's a Waywatcher from, a Waystalker from Avalon, which is kind of cool. She's not a wood elf, per se. She's sort of a wood elf, because Avalon kind of has that vibe, but also not from... Anyway, it's interesting. It's, you know, not from Athel Lauren, but from Ulthuan. It's kind of cool. So, makes her a little bit unique as well, and sort of fills in a gap that isn't really filled in very well. I mean, they kind of go, oh, and Alariel has dryads, but other than that, it's kind of like, yeah, it kind of loses a bit of the nuance, I think. So that's really cool. This is cool. So, new units and characters. Markus Wulfhart. In battle, Wulfhart is a ranged combatant with a powerful armor-piercing bow, which deals bonus damage to large targets. Makes sense, right? He's all about hunting the big game. Coupled with Vanguard deployment, Stalk, a 360-degree fire arc, and immune to psychology. Makes sense. He's not going to be terrified of the big beast, is he? That would just be irritating. So, that's awesome. He has a well-deserved reputation as the ultimate monster hunter. Awesome. I want to see him and Wulfric have a fight, because they're both big on the hunting. So this could be a laugh. Anyway, in keeping with his reputation, Markus Wulfhart has a significant ambush defense and ambush success chance. Love it. And a large upkeep reduction to huntsmen and archers in his army. Very cool. So, Huntsman General, Lord. Following Wulfhart's example, his Huntsman Generals have Vanguard deployment, Stalk, a 360-degree fire arc, are immune to psychology, and deal bonus damage against large targets. Their fire arrow capabilities mean they synergize well with Bright Wizards. Cool. They have fire ammunition. That's really interesting. I love that. I love that a lot. And they grant reload rate bonuses to other Imperial missile units. So awesome to finally have a unit that can buff sort of other missile units. I really like that, you know, for the Empire. It's odd that the first one would be a Huntsman General and not like an engineer, right? An Imperial engineer. But anyway, seems strange, but hey, that's great. Archers, the backbone of Wulfhart's hunting parties. These Imperial archers are inexpensive, plentiful, quick to fire, and are great at soaking enemy formations with ranged damage. Their loose formation enables them to trade fire with other ranged units at a profit. Wow, they actually get loose formation. I like that. Because they were not like skirmish units on tabletop. They weren't, you didn't put them in a regiment. Actually, I think archers you might have done. I think it was huntsmen that you didn't. But it's nice that all of them are getting that same treatment, that they're not, you know, regimented. But it makes sense if you're running around a jungle, you know, not to have regiments of archers, I guess. So anyway, Deathjacks. So these are the Archers Regiment of Renown. These elite archers also have Stalk, Snipe, and Vanguard deployment. Wow. Enabling them to strike fast, strike first, and remain hidden from view. If well screened, they can continue to fire without fear of discovery or ranged retaliation. So this, I love, the fact they can just sit there shooting. I mean, since they're just archers, they probably don't have the biggest sort of range, so they're probably going to be quite easy to discover, especially just from missile trails and things. But this is really cool. This is really interesting, I think. I really like that. So, Huntsman. Only the finest archers ascend to the rank of Huntsman. Well drilled and versatile, they have Vanguard deployment and Stalk. Can fire while moving. Nice. Have a greater range than standard archers. Enjoy a good degree of accuracy and deal bonus damage to large targets. So, anti-large skirmish units. It doesn't say if they have 360 firing arc, though. It doesn't say if they have that. So, I wonder if they do or not. They might have to run back and then run towards things, but maybe they can run at things while firing? I don't know. It doesn't say about 360. They made a point of mentioning it for other units, so we'll have to wait and see for that. I'd assume 360 firing arc, but Who knows? Some units don't have, you know, firewall moving and 360. You know, some just have firewall moving. But anyway, White Wolves Huntsman. So something Ulrican here, which is cool. Few face the White Wolves and live to tell of it. These elite huntsmen match their bow skills with ruthless melee capabilities, granting them a useful hybrid role. Alongside their hunter attributes, they also encourage nearby friendlies and are immune to psychology. That's really cool. I really like that. That's fun. Sort of an inspiring, fighty type. Very cool. War Wagon. Hell yeah, War Wagons. Oh, War Wagons. These mobile armoured wagons are packed with 6 riflemen, each armed with an armour-piercing Outrider rifle. So, you know, what the Outriders have. Slower than standard missile cavalry, but far more resilient, they can fire while moving in all directions, and reposition to place their fusillades precisely where required. In a pinch, they can also be used as chariots and charged into lighter or weakened enemy units. Very, very cool. That's just something that is completely missing from the Empire roster, you know, just something that does that. There isn't anything that does that, so this is awesome. And also, the War Wagon with a mortar. These mobile artillery pieces may carry less ammo than standard mortars, but more than make up for it by being able to stay one step ahead of melee. Sorry, very tight. One step ahead of melee combatants, repositioning when threatened to set up a new base of fire and bombard the foe afresh. That's so cool, because mortars, you know, if you have a concerted sort of mortar line that you want to, you know, set up, it's just going to get rushed and killed. Certainly in multiplayer, it's too big an investment to have a bunch of mortars. So the idea of being able to run them away. I mean, they have less ammo though, but then maybe if you get a bunch of charges into anything, you know, you can do alright with the War Wagon. I don't know. There's opportunity here, right, to mix things up, which I appreciate. And also, the Black Lions. War Wagon, Hellblaster Volley Gun, Regiment Renown. So cool. The ultimate unit in the Expedition's armory, the Black Lion is a devastating mobile light artillery piece. While shorter range than a standard Hellblaster volley gun, it can pump rounds into approaching troops into the last second, then reposition to avoid getting caught in melee. That is so fun. That is so fun. I want one. I want several of them, but it's a Regiment Renown, so I have to make do. Nakai the Wanderer now. Let's get to him. Unique faction mechanics. New horde mechanics. Horde mechanics? Ooh. This is different, so suddenly intrigued. Nakai's faction, Spirit of the Jungle, offers a unique variation on horde gameplay. Each army in his faction, when placed in the encampment stance, may develop its settlement infrastructure. Much as a standard settlement would. That infrastructure is preserved when the horde moves off, and may be further developed during future periods of encampment. If a horde is destroyed in battle, all its infrastructure is lost along with the army. However, only Nakai's personal horde can unlock units for recruitment. Other hordes in his faction may then recruit unit types Nakai has unlocked using the global recruitment option. These minor hordes still have their own infrastructure and building trees, though some of these are focused on reducing global recruitment times rather than unlocking units. So that's super interesting, for sure. So he's the main horde, and then he has other armies that can sort of feed off him. I guess he's the one sort of rallying everybody, and I like that. That's kind of how a horde should be, right? It's like one person in charge, and as the horde grows, obviously there's a limit of 20 units in this game, but having other parties that are going to go off and do stuff, it's obviously going to go from the main horde, which is Nakai and his army, right? So that makes a lot of thematic sense. So I think that's really interesting, and I really want to see how this plays out. I think it could be really cool, having, you know, just a character as your base, essentially. In sort of more than the other sort of horde stuff is, where you just get random armies and you just swap out the, you know, swap out the generals and things as you like. This feels a bit more robust, I guess. It seems to make a bit more thematic sense. I don't know. It sounds good, is what I'm trying to say. So, defense of the Great Plan. The Great Plan of the Old Ones lies in a delicate balance. Many look to disrupt it, but none defend it, as devoutly as Nakai the Wanderer. Nakai begins play with a vassal faction called the Defenders of the Great Plan, the caretakers of the Great Temple Cities. When one of Nakai's armies captures a region, it may be gifted to the Defenders. When a region is gifted thus, Nakai must choose which old one that region's temple should be dedicated to. As more temples are dedicated to a specific old one, the more powerful the rewards bestowed upon Nakai and his faction. These temples generate a unique resource called Old One's Favor. Nakai may expend this favor to access Blessed Spawnings units. That's really cool. Or to recruit lords at much higher ranks. So, I like this because this sounds kind of a sort of a similar thing to Norska, except it's not burning a settlement to the ground and putting an idol in its place. It's actually gifting it to someone and saying, you know, here this is, but know that it's for this god. And they go, hell yeah, I love that god. He's my favourite. He's my favourite old one. Why we call them old ones? Sound patronising. We call them cool ones. Yeah. It's PR. I work for a Lisbon PR firm. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, so yeah, I think that sounds really awesome. I think that sounds really interesting. The fact that you can still sort of paint the map, but you're painting it into someone else's colour, knowing that they're your, well, they're kind of associated with you. They're your vassals, right? So that sounds interesting. I really like that, because I kind of hate with the Horde mechanics where you can basically all but wipe out a faction, and then as you're dealing with the next faction, everyone just moves into the territory you've destroyed, and they're suddenly all back again. So you never really make any progress with other Horde factions, unless you really just spend way too much time trying to make sure you get every last one of them before moving on, which can just get a bit tedious. So I like this. I like this a lot. So yeah, paint the map, but not under your colour. I love that. I think that's really interesting. Very cool. So, Warmblood invaders. The avaricious Warmbloods look to pillage the temple cities of Lustria for profit. How dare they? Damn Warmbloods and their music. These invaders lurk throughout the jungles. They must be tracked and confronted with cold-blooded ferocity for the great plan to remain intact and unimpaired. In the Eye of the Vortex campaign, Nakai must fight to keep Lustria in the rightful hands of the Lizardmen. Several Empire colonies have been established, and each is encroaching on the jungle. They must be dealt with. 4 extremely dangerous hunters coordinate the efforts of the Warmbloods, hunt them down to draw out their leader, and defeat them all in a final epic confrontation. So, I wonder who those are going to be. Huh. Yep. So, unique rights. Nakai has a selection of new rights focused around his units, faction mechanics, and campaign focus. Right of Allegiance. Performing this right brings Nakai to the attention of the Old Ones, increasing his vassal income. That's interesting. That's a really cool mechanic, actually. I like that. And all his hordes' replenishment rates. Very nice. Right of Rebirth. This right increases the growth rate for hordes in Nakai's faction, reduces construction costs, and reduces unit recruitment and upkeep costs faction-wide. And then finally, the right of Mastery. This right increases the recruitment rank of Kroxigors, Kroxigor Ancients, and Sacred Kroxigors, while improving their weapon strength and armor. So those are pretty cool rights there. New units and characters. Yeah, this is what we want. Nakai the Wanderer, with high armor, health, melee attack, and weapon strength, Nakai is a powerful brawler, well suited to extended melee. He also grants bonus melee defense to, and reduces the recruitment and upkeep costs of Kroxigors and Sacred Kroxigors in his army. Nakai also has a number of new support abilities in battle, further cementing his role as the centerpiece of battle. He has Miasma of Despair, speed, vigor, and leadership area effect debuff. So he's going to be good at brawling for an extended period of time, and he's going to make it so the people he's fighting are worse over a long period of time, because they're going to have their vigor removed, and with their speed going, they're going to find it tougher to get away from him, because, well, Kroxigors aren't the fastest, so that's awesome, though. That's really cool. I really like that. And leadership, which is amazing, because I'm assuming he may cause terror as well, possibly. Certainly fear, but if he causes terror, then that's great, right? You know, it's just lower armor, lower leadership even more, and get that to hit. So him with maybe a Saurus Old Blood on a Carnosaur. Yeah? Wait, no, Scar Veteran is what I mean, on a Carnosaur. And you got the Talisman to hit leadership as well. That could be a great combo. Sorry, I've got my theory crafting hat on now. I'll put that back on the hat rack. Primal Roar increases Nakai's physical resistance and melee attack, and grants Rampage to allies. I mean, usually that's a bad thing, right? But I guess if it's buffing a bunch of other stuff, then that's fine, you know, to find enough trade-off. And also, kind of thematic and fun, you know? He screams, everyone charges in like a lunatic. I love it. Golden Tribute, perfect vigor for allies in range. That is nuts. That is nuts. Perfect vigor is so useful. Guys, this is the most, vigor seems to be the most underrated thing. It's the least sort of immediately obvious thing, but the amount of stuff that Vigor does, when your troops get exhausted, they suffer in so many ways, including armor, weirdly, but it doesn't tell you on the info card. These are all sort of slightly secret and often tweaked and changed behind the scenes, but a ton of different stats get hit. So perfect Vigor just means that you will not tire, so that you never have to worry about exhaustion ruining all your stats. So that's really cool. So, Ancient Kroxigors. These well-armoured, hard-hitting anti-infantry specialists are cast in the mould of Nakai himself, and well-suited to extending melee engagements. Feral Dread Saurian. If you thought Carnosaurs, the apex predators of Lustria, think again. That'll probably get fixed anyway. Think again. With breathtaking weapon damage and high armor, these towering walls of teeth and fury are versatile, elite-killing melee behemoths and are subject to rampage. That's awesome, but you know, it's a feral one, so of course. And there's the Dread Saurian with the Howder. So the Howder just being the little house on the back. You know, that's what a Howder is. Arachnarok spiders have got them too. Yeah. How do you like that knowledge? Anyway, Dread Saurians. So, somewhat tamer than their feral cousins, though no less capable, these titanic beasts are ridden into battle by skink skirmishers and do not rampage, combining their terrifying melee power with 4 giant blowpipes and 8 skinks hurling poison javelins is the ultimate multi-role unit. This sounds so much more dangerous than a Stegodon. I can't wait to see what it's like. Shredder of Lustria, Dread Saurian Howder. So, regiments are renowned here. Shredder of Lustria with rank 9 stats in Courage and a passive Hex aura reducing nearby enemy leadership. Ooh, that's so good. The Shredder of Lustria is truly a 1-unit army and comes with a price tag to match. So, bring this guy and a Saurus Scar Veteran and Nakai. That's a lot of leadership penalties, and different ones, because yeah, you can't bring the same one over and over again and expect it to stack. The abilities need different names for it to stack those penalties. So you would have probably spent all your money, because I can't imagine this guy's cheap. Obviously the Scar Veteran on the Carnosaur isn't cheap, and yeah, but you could Terrabomb stuff pretty well with a bunch of that stuff, which I think could be really fun. Oh yeah, that's gonna make it even worse for greenskins. Oh, poor greenskins. Oh. Anyway, Sacred Kroxigors, these versatile and hard-hitting monstrous infantry are great all-rounders. Oh, this isn't a regiment renown, never mind. With higher weapon strength and magical attacks. Ooh, wow. Kroxigors with magic attacks. That sounds awesome. They can plunge through against a greater variety of foes than standard Kroxigors. I do wonder if these guys will have a weird side effect with the magic attacks. If maybe they'll be useful against the High Elves. Because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that sort of counters Kroxigors, like a good charge from Dragon Princes can mess them up, but if the Dragon Princes can't rely on their physical resistance, maybe they take more damage from them. I know they're anti-infantry, Kroxigors, but, huh? You know? Maybe? Oh, it does say they're good all-rounders, which makes me wonder if these guys don't have an anti-infantry bonus, if they're just, you know, armor-piercing, magic attack, monstrous infantry. So, I wonder. And, as well as Phoenix Guard as well. Obviously have a ton of it. Ton of physical resist, so magic's good against them, but obviously they've got halberds and you don't really want to fight them if you're a big boy. Anyway, cohort of Huatl. Yeah, Huatl. Cohort of Huatl. Sacred Kroxigors, regiment renowned. The cohort of Huatl is a top-tier monstrous infantry unit, building on the Sacred Kroxigors' capabilities with additional armor sundering attacks and bonus physical resistance. They synergize well in the field with Skinks and Saurus Warriors. Yeah, I can imagine. Like, Saurus Warriors hit hard, but not a lot of armor piercing. So, yeah, this is beautiful. This is super interesting. Also, Razordon Hunting Pack. Filling the air with deadly grape shot style volleys of armor piercing fire, Razordon hunting packs are potent and mobile armored infantry hunters. So, yeah, they fire spikes as far as I can tell. A lot of them. They're very scary. Imagine lizard porcupines of death. Yeah, fun. Also, the Amazon Barbs. Awesome. I wonder if that's a reference to Barbarella. I kind of hope so. I think that'd be funny. Anyway, Razordons, Regiment Renown. Dealing poison damage and heavily scaled for enhanced missile resistance. These Razordons are pinpoint shooters and make top-notch skirmishers. Interesting. So, missile resist, so anti-skirmishing skirmishers, maybe. Kind of cool. And the poison damage is always nice. I love it. Okay, this is rad. This is awesome. And we need to go back to the blog. There's more, guys. There's more. There's actually more to it. Yes. We need to go down here. Watch the free content that will be released alongside the DLC. The free content that will be released alongside the Hunter and the Beast DLC includes the Lizardman legendary Lord Gorok. Yup. Welcome to Gorok. Promised I wouldn't do that. I promised. I promised myself. A campaign map region rework for Mortal Empires, Empire fort battles, a new starting position for Balthazar Gelt, and an old world update for the Empire. Yes to all of this. Keep an eye out on our social channels in the coming weeks for more info. Here's more info. Immediately there's some more info here. So what's in the free old world update that will be released alongside the DLC? Oh, I guess, yeah, more info on Gorok. They haven't really said anything about him. But the other stuff, there's more details. So, campaign map region reworks. Various parts of the Mortal Empires campaign map have been reworked and improved, focused mainly on the regions within the Empire. New provinces, Solent, and regions have been added within the boundaries of the Empire. Guys, Solent's gone. Okay, Gorbad Ironclaw destroyed Solent. It got absorbed by the Wissenland. Okay, the Rune Fang belongs to Kurt Helborg now. Okay, that province has been wiped out completely. Like 300 years ago or something. Like, it's super gone. But hey, it's back now apparently, so that's awesome. So yeah, Solent hasn't existed for hundreds of years. I forget when it was. I think it's before the last Chaos Invasion. I can't entirely remember. But either way, Gorbad Ironclaw wrecked it, so yeah. New mountain pass regions have been added between the Empire and its neighbours. Cool. Complete with all new Empire fort settlement battlefields, similar to High Elf Gates. So yeah, similar to the Phoenix Gates and things in Ulthuan. And this, I think, is super clever. I mean, because that's a great idea, but obviously the Empire is a giant fortified place. The only reason that it exists, I think, is because it is able to defend its, you know, sort of these mountain passes from the horrible hordes of beasts that can come down from those. You know, there's a lot of very scary things in the wilderness. I mean, the fact that it's mostly forest and forests are mostly beastmen, I'm still quite amazed they've survived. So, you know, they try and control what they can. But, yeah, I think fort battles, that's such a cool thing. That's such a nice addition, just to add, like, an extra hurdle. So I like that. And also, new province and regions have been added for Albion. What? It's going to be Gorok, isn't it? Gorok's going to live there. I bet Gorok's going to live there. But anyway, Albion's been added, so that's cool. That wasn't a province before. It was just, I don't think there was even a settlement there, was it? It was just associated as part of one of the Norscan provinces. It was just sort of there as additional terrain. But, yeah, so that's cool. So Albion's made a comeback. I like that. And new Greenskin and Wood Elf factions have been added in the Drakwold and Wasteland area of the Empire. Yes! I've been asking for this for so long. This is something I've wanted so much. Because the Drakwold is big on forest goblins, okay? Big deal, forest goblins in the Drakwold forest. That's the one in Midland, by the way. The Drakwold, not to be confused with the Reichwald in the Reichland. No, Drakwold, that's in Midland, and also in Nordland slightly. And it does spill into the wasteland as well, I guess. But anyway, it's that big old forest. And in the north, by Nordland, there's a wood elf. It's the Laurelorn forest, I believe. Yeah, that sounds right. Laurel. I'm doing this off the top of my head. It's a Laurelorn forest, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah, there's a bunch of wood elves living up there that aren't. They're sort of somewhere between wood elves and high elves because they're from the old culture, but they were never part of Atilla. So yeah, they were there before the elves got kicked off the old world by the dwarfs. So yeah, like a nice sort of hybrid faction, potentially, but they might just make them straight up wood elves, because that's what they mostly resemble. So, you know, that's fine. Either way, but yeah, they've got like some crappy kind of trade thing going with Nordland, where they supply Nordland lumber for goods and things, but Nordland are very greedy, and the Electocan wants to just wipe them out so he can just have all the lumber, rather than being rationed which trees he's allowed to cut down by some random elves that are on his land. So, yeah, I wonder if they'll actually play into anything, or it's just be wood elves fighting you, probably. But anyway, I like this. It just, it's going to make that area way more interesting, especially as we get into more stuff lower down. This will become super relevant. So, new Empire forts, new spectacular settlement battlefields, exclusively for the new forts added in the mountain passes on the borders of the Empire. Can't wait to see what these settlement battles look like. So, new start position. Balthazar Gelt has a new starting position of Solent in the south of the Empire and a new faction, the Golden Order, to command. That's pretty cool, but also Solent still doesn't exist. Okay, it's gone. Okay, it's gone. Anyway, Empire Co-op campaign is now available because now there's more than one starting area for the Empire. How has it taken this long? Isn't that insane? I think that's mad. Like, just hearing that out loud. The Empire Co-op campaign is now available. The idea that there was a co-op campaign that wasn't available is just mad. But yeah, they have more than one starting location. Potentially 3 now, because they've got, you know, obviously the Reichland with still a few in there. And also they've got Gelt on his own one, and they've got the Huntsmarshal in his own one, which is awesome. So I love that. So yeah, plenty of things there. Also here, the Empire Office system is being replaced with the new Elector Count system. This new political feature will make it possible to confederate the Empire without going to war with the other counts if you play your cards right. New resources of prestige and imperial authority will be used to improve fealty with other elector counts via electoral machinations and imperial dilemmas, and to exert your command over the Empire. 13 elector count positions to command includes the Wasteland and Sylvania. Unique rewards, Rune Fangs, they're the swords of the elector counts, built by the dwarfs, and they were actually commissioned, I think, by Sigmar himself, but because dwarves take the time, I think it took like another 200 years, so they just sort of turned up being like, oh, we got your swords for you. And then, you know, all the elector counts, the first elector counts, great-grandsons were like, thanks? Cool? Do you want a cuppa? Yeah, it was very unexpected for them. But yeah, Runefangs, cool. Anyway, and exclusive units when commanding a state's capital. So, unique units, huh? Exclusive units with different states. That sounds awesome. I really want to know what those would be, if they're truly unique or just sort of like, here's, you know, here's just a retexture of something. Could just be a retexture of something, but even that, I think, would make the armies feel a little bit more diverse and make it feel more like an empire rather than a bunch of different human enemies, which is kind of what it feels like now. So the previous officer system, gone, okay? It's gone. So older saves, it's gone, so don't worry about it. And this is all coming out on the 11th of September. Had I mentioned that? It's the 11th of September. That's there. My brain is coming out of my head today. That is so soon. That is so soon. I mean, look, it's the 29th. It's crazy. It'll be out no time at all. No time at all. Like 12 days? Wait, how many days in this month? Alright. A little bit more than that. Anyway, it's soon, is what I'm getting at. A couple of weeks away. So, amazing. But, if we go up here, where are we? Solid. Oh, yes. These new factions, right? This is actually huge, having Greenskin and Wood Elves there, because things can be a little bit more uniform, right? The different provinces are more likely to get along a bit better, because there's actually a way to control them into liking you. So you've got to have more threats in the Empire. The Empire is supposed to just be a bunch of threats. And yeah, they do plot against each other a lot, but whenever something big and scary comes along, which is inevitable in, you know, in a game called Total War, they're going to be friends, right? They're not just going to go, no, I'm siding with chaos, as can happen. No, so I think this is great. The fact that you can actually be the Emperor. For once, it felt like you weren't the Emperor, you were just the guy who ran the Reichland. Because no one else gave a crap. You know, you got elected by them, but the other elected counts were like, I don't know, you don't like you, whatever. I don't want to trade pots with you, I don't care. So this is great. It'll make it feel more like an empire. Sure, they'll have their own agendas and they might go to war with each other occasionally and, you know, be annoying because they are still separate factions. But it'll still feel part of an empire. I think that is great. That is the biggest change that can happen thematically to the game. Obviously, I'm glad it took this long. I say obviously I'm glad it took this long. That sounds weird. But I'm glad that it happened later rather than on game's release. Because if that was the case when the game released, no other faction would be able to compete with them because there were only 5, if you guys remember. There were the 4 base ones and Bretonia. That was it, right? Oh, and Chaos, I guess. So 6. There were 6, but Chaos turned up later. So basically 5. Yeah, so I mean, you can't have most of the old world be one faction, you know, called the Empire. It wouldn't work. So, you know, they had to make it so the different Empire provinces would be fighting each other a lot, because you just had to. Otherwise, any Empire campaign would just be the Empire versus the world, and that would get real tedious real quickly, I think. So, it made a lot of sense to make them a bit more at each other's throats than they should be. When they're at each other's throats, usually it's more subtle. You know, usually they're just sending spies into each other's ranks and trying to get each other assassinated, and maybe making the odd pact with a Chaos God, but only for a bit, and, you know, I've got it under control, it's fine. That kind of thing. So, you know, I love this. So, Empire Rework, more Empire units, War Wagons, more Lisbon stuff, so more stompy dinosaurs, which I'm always a fan of, and the Hunter and the Beast comes out 11th of September. I don't know what more I could ask for. Oh, that's right, there's one more thing on Twitter. Here we go. There's this as well.
Summon the Elector Counts.
How great is that? And yeah, 20-turn cooldown. It's like a right that summons the Elector Counts. So yeah, owning faction, this lord is the current owner of the state's capital, which grants them the following benefits: Elector Count of Reichland, Dragon Tooth. What does the Dragon Tooth do? And guys, Caribou Greatswords. Caribou Greatswords. I was having a conversation yesterday with someone on Discord saying they need to add Caribou Greatswords. Now they have them. That is so good! That's a sort of a missing regiment of renown, by the way. But yeah, brilliant. So I'm done. I'm done, guys. I am done with this video. It's taken forever. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, subscribe, and speculate in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want. If you're disappointed, if they should have done something else, if you think maybe it'll have this thing that I forgot about, or whatever. Let me know in the comments. I want to get this hype train going because I'm super excited about more Warhammer DLC. So I'll see you there. Have a good one, guys.